Hi, this is Peter Fetterolf. I'm the CTO at ACG, and this is a video on Model Designer, which is a new feature for our BAE Business Analytics engine. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a new model from scratch using Model Designer, and most importantly, using libraries. So anyway, we're at the scenarios here. So let's just hit this button, say let's design a model, and let's say this is a demo model. So we'll add this one, and it's going to bring us up. And obviously, I don't have a model yet. So now one of the powerful things about Model Designer are libraries, and what libraries are they are available sets of services, resources, servers, and CPE that you can use to build models. So the basic idea with these services, resources, etc., we have the components as well as all the data that's used in the model, and then we just piece the models together. So let's start out, and also sometimes there's a lot of libraries there. So up here you can select which library. So let's select our virtual services library. So we'll take a look at this, and you see there's a bunch of things that you can do here. So this is our next generation firewall. Let's say this is a cloud firewall. So let's add this one. Okay, so what this does is it's going to add the service, but it also adds the resource, or it could be multiple resources associated with that service, but it's not really connected to anything. So let's add one more service. We'll add, and this one is a cloud based service. Let's add a SD-WAN, and we'll make this a CPE based service. So we'll have this, and you see it's got a little icon there, say it's running on CPE. This one's running on the cloud. Currently, they're not really running on anything because they're not connected to anything. Okay, we should add some CPE as well. So let's go to the CPE library, and let's add, we'll add one of these, and these are generic CPE devices. So we'll add one of these CPE devices. It doesn't show up in the picture, but if you click here on CPE, you'll see I have this CPE here, and I have, the cache flows and the data associated with that CPE. So we'll go back to model view here. So now the other thing, since I've got a cloud service there, I should enter some servers as well. So let's go to our server library here. And again, you don't have to select it on the top, but it just kind of simplifies it. Let's add, like, say, a 56 core server there. So you see that guy's hanging out there. If I go up here to servers, you see I've got this one. If I click on that, you can see I've got the data associated with the server, I've got the cache flows associated with the server. So basically, by adding these components from the library, you have the services, you have the resources, you have all the cache flows, the CPE. But now I have to create a model and connect it to something. So this is actually pretty straightforward. So they all start with tenants. So let's add a tenant here. So just say, okay, let's add this guy, and we'll call him tenant 1. And we'll say, well, there's one of them, and let's say our terminal quantity is 1 as well. So it's just going to be one tenant. Okay, so you can see here's my tenant 1. I've got 1 and 1 of those. Now let's add an endpoint, because I need an endpoint for any kind of traffic. So we'll call this EP1. And what tenant is it? Well, I've only got one tenant right now, so I'll select this guy. And let's say I've got, we'll start out with 5 of these, and at the end of the model, let's say I'm going to grow that to 10. If I select this terminal, basically what it does is it uses an F-curve or a logistics function to grow from 5 to 10. If I selected a CAGR, it would just grow it on a strict percentage. I can select the coordinates, but I don't need to. That's only if I have a specific network. Now, I could have CPE, so let's select this CPE here for this guy, and then we will add him. Okay, so you see I've got this endpoint 1, it's connected to tenant 1. He's got this Solcom CPE. I start at 5, and I grow to 10. So now let's go back to model view, and you can see I've got these guys, but they're not connected to anything. I have to specify some demand. So let's go into the services here, okay, and we'll go to my NFG cloud service. Now, this specifies all my service plans, my service, that all came with the library. And you see what also came with the library is my connection to resources. But I do have to specify demand here because the library can't know what the demand is going to be. So it's pretty simple. Let's just add some data. So I got tenant 1. I've only got one endpoint. And let's give it a data rate. So let's say that's like 10 meg. And let's grow this at like, say, 10%. Annually, and we'll just check this little box here, and it's going to add that demand. So now if we go back to our model view, you can see that now I have actually connected these things. I haven't connected this guy yet, though. Now I can just click on that here, okay? Go to demand. That's another way to get to demand. Okay, let's add some data. So again, we'll select the tenant. We'll select the endpoint. And let's give him some data rate. So maybe say a little bit higher data rate, maybe with a 5% growth rate. And we'll add that guy in there. And you can see I've got my data right there. So if I go back to my model view now, you can see you can see basically now I have these guys connected. However, what I don't have is I don't have any data centers yet. Because this guy runs in the CPE, so he's all set. He doesn't need a data center. This guy is running in a data center. So let's add a data center here. So let's select this guy. We'll call him DC1. Let's add that. And then I need to give him a quantity. Let's just make it simple. Just say there's one of those, but I could have more. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. Let's grow. Well, no. We'll keep it simple. Just make it one. And then I don't need to bother with coordinates. So let's save that guy there, and you can see I've got that data center here. When I go into actually, so let me go back to the model view here. Now you can see I've got this data center, but and I've got a server, but I have to tell the BAE where the resources are running. So when I go to this resource, this guy's going to run in the data center. See, I've got data center availability here. So let's go into that and say, where is it running? Because I could have many data centers. I only got one here. So I'll just say, select that. Okay, he is running there. So now you go back to your view, you can see, okay, I've got the demand for this next generation firewall cloud service running on this software, which is on this data center. However, I need to also connect the server with the data center. So let's go to my servers here, and again, we can do it from the chart, but you see there's a server deployment tab. So definitions, cash flow, server deployment. I need to add some data here. So let's specify a data center. This will be DC1, okay? And I will just add that. That guy is running there at that data center. So now let's go back to our model view here. And now you can see I've got a whole model built up. I have this firewall that's running in the cloud at this data center using these compute servers. And then I've got this SD-WAN that's running on CPE, and you can see the CPE icon there. Now if I hit the run button, I can run this model. And then essentially what I have is the full BAE dashboard, associated with this model with a very rich set of output. I can look at my expense hierarchy and click into that and see what all the components are. I can look at my cash flow table. I can look at my inventory of servers and devices, etc. And so basically that's pretty much how you build a model to start with. There's a lot of other components that we can add, but the key thing I want to stress here is that the power of the model designers and libraries. So we have all these different components and libraries. Libraries have structure and data associated with them that we continue to update them. And then it's really just a matter of connecting the dots with libraries. So that'll wind up our video on Model Designer.